Let's dive into our first stock. Now, I'm not sure which exactly this is because we're going to do it by market cap, descending order. That's our normal rule. Micromega comes up. This is interesting. So this is a truly interesting story. It's a company that is controlled by one of South Africa's most colorful business leaders, and that is Dave King. Yeah. You'll be aware of him having made spectacular gains in business in the last 20 years. He had a long-running saga dispute with SARS with regard to some of those gains. That case was settled. He is now fully in the clear. He paid some gargantuan amount to SARS, many hundreds of millions of rands. The company, though, that he formed after he'd moved out of the area that he'd been in before is a conglomerate which focuses on the provision of various information technology services. It's got a financial footprint as well with regard to interbroker dealing. It's got a core business, though, in providing operational health and safety gradings for other business. You'll be familiar perhaps with the NOSA brand name. That is theirs, and they provide that one in particular. The market cap of this one is bobbed around a little bit, but is currently at or around 2 billion rand. Price earnings ratio 24.6, dividend yield of 1.14. So Lance, Stuart Morris and the guys have built a reasonably interesting bunch of different assets. Yeah. Dave gives it the sort of public face. He's got a lot of the shares. I'm not sure of the exact percentage. How do you feel about Micromega?
Is this a reincarnation of specialized outsourcing? That was Dave King's previous vehicle, and in many respects it seems to be. So that was, for some people it was spectacular, for some people it wasn't. It was a sort of almost like a boom to bust story there. And there is that previous history, and is this the same? And it's a real acquisitive growth-led strategy. NOSA seems to be the business that has maybe the most legs, and some very interesting international operations. Part of the tax settlement was to bring all of Dave King's offshore assets back into South Africa, and the NOSA transaction had bits and pieces around the world, and part of that settlement was to put all the offshore assets into well, it was this vehicle in the end. So quite interesting. So maybe much neater process, and that is behind Dave King, as you've said. However, very highly valued. Is 25 PE, a lot of growth coming from the acquisition. So a bit of a mixed.
Let's take a look at the share price, because what you'll see is that when he does the settlement with SARS in the middle of 2013, 2014, it really wakes up. So prior to that, Dave's not actively involved in the business and so on and so forth. So it's a combination of him being available to work full time, as well as what you're referring to, which is kind of some of the offshore interests are kind of getting acquired by Micromega. Yeah. But to be fair to them, as you say, NOSA are doing well. The IT businesses that they've got in there, like MEX and so on, seem to be doing well. They remain acquisitive. They've done sort of networking, buy-in businesses and so on. So the market gets a bit excited, perhaps, at all of this news and thinking that Dave King's going to make everybody rich again. Yes. But then it sort of pulls back in recognition that maybe there isn't quite the earnings story quite to justify the share price. Yes. That seems to be the sort of sense you're also echoing.
Yeah, it's run really hard. In the last year, it's up, it's almost doubled. But in the last 3 months, it's given back some of that, as you're saying. I think the valuation is very, very full. It really will need to deliver operationally on bedding down everything and delivering a consistent earning stream going forward. And the rating may, as a result, become more realistic. So you may see some downward pressure on the share price because of that. That's my view.
And Dave is at pains with all of his public comments to underscore the fact that he has a sort of normal expectations for what he's going to do, and there's not going to be any more excitement, and they're going to stay out of trouble, and they're going to just play it carefully and cautiously. Because some of the spectacular gains that specialized outsourcing made were precisely from doing new and innovative things with regard to treasury management with local authorities. Those sorts of opportunities are probably not there. Some of the businesses that they've acquired, they may have acquired at good prices, but they're not necessarily world beaters. They're in an industry which is very competitive. So I kind of feel
Yeah.
same as you, that
Yeah.
maybe it's time for us to take a more nuanced way and see how it goes. I mean, they're very keen to get a good rating in the market, but they're going to have to deliver the profits.
Yeah, it's very demanding, and they're going to have to deliver on that lofty rating.
Okay, so what are we saying with regard to hot or not?
Not on this one.
I'm quite tempted because I like Dave and I like the way that he goes about business, but I'm also going to go with not hot too. I also know a couple of other people in the business, like Russell Dick, this chief financial officer and so on, is a friend of mine. So yeah, I'm quite tempted, as I say, but I'm going to go with you on this one too.